In Buenos Aires, demonstrators protest outside the Supreme Court, accusing the judges of being in league with the corrupt politicians. And in true Argentinian style, the demonstration resembles a cacophonous concert, played with pots and pans. It is known as the cacerolazo, the giant casserole. The whole of Argentine society is rising up to rebel against the politicians they see as responsible for the economic ruin of their nation. All walks of life, both rich and poor, are uniting to fight for change. We are sick and tired of them stealing our money and lying to us. There is less and less money and fewer jobs, and still more poverty and hunger. And all we can do is watch the lying, corrupt politicians granting themselves even higher wages. What is this? Not one politician in jail. No one gives us our money back. People say, "Give me my money," but they just reply by telling you something about the International Monetary Fund. As if I care about that. Give me my money back. I have earned and saved. My life is wasted, but I wish for my children to be able to live freely. I don't want them to be constantly exploited like me. My children should be free. They were born here and should live here. They should not have to leave the country. Frustration is growing, along with the queues in front of the consulates. Tens of thousands of Argentinians are trying to go abroad, especially to countries of origin, like Spain and Italy. Why are you standing in the queue? To get Italian citizenship for my 3 children. There is no future here. Isn't that a little drastic? Yes, definitely, but there is no future here. I have lived my life. I am 60 years old, and I won't pack my bags. But my children should have a chance. In 20 years, things may be brighter so that they can return. Yes, it is difficult to leave one's family and friends, but I have no second thoughts. There is nothing else to do but leave. Things could brighten up. My father came here after the war, and now I have to leave. I came here just 1 month ago to settle down in Argentina. My family is here, my parents and my sisters. I didn't think it was this bad. I followed the news in Italy, but thought this was normal for Argentina. When I arrived, I saw my friends and family were suffering badly. The middle class and the lower middle class have grown poorer. It is completely impossible for me to stay. I am trying to convince my family to go with me to Italy. There is no future here. I can't have a family here. If I bring my children here, they will inevitably suffer. The queue in front of the Spanish embassy is even longer than the one in front of the Italian embassy. Spain and Italy provide citizenship to children and grandchildren of emigrants. Tens of thousands of Argentinians have already taken this opportunity to return to the homeland of their parents and grandparents, and these days many more are on their way. In Buenos Aires, the long fashionable pedestrian street, La Florida, is silent. Several shops have already closed down, whilst others are having exceptional sales. Sales have been more than halved. Compared to previous years, turnover has simply plunged. 6 months ago, we could already see that sales look bad. There could easily be 3 to 4 days without any activity. But there are places where business is booming. This market, is in a closed-down textile factory, but it is no ordinary market. You can't buy or sell anything here with regular money. You barter. The barter market is a closed club. You can only join if you have something to sell or if you can offer some kind of service. No one can buy their way in with money. However, Argentinians can fulfill most of their needs in these clubs, where everybody is both buyer and seller. I have a shop in the centre of town, but the atmosphere is better here. I also buy a lot of foodstuffs here, vegetables, fruit. Are things going better here or in the centre of town? Things are better here. There are about 4,500 barter clubs spread all over Argentina, with more than 2.5 million members. And now, the National Union of Barter Markets have even printed their own money. This is of course illegal, but because the clubs fulfill the daily needs of millions of Argentinians, the government has turned a blind eye to this parallel currency. And it's not just for daily necessities such as vegetables or the legendary Argentine steak. In this club, its 3,500 members can visit the doctor, have a gutter repaired, lay down on a couch at a psychiatrist, or get a tattoo or a new haircut. I hope things will get better now, so there are jobs and we can earn real money. But at the moment, this is all there is. Without the club, you'd be unemployed? Yes, that is for sure. The Barter Club has even got its own travel agency where members can barter for a holiday. We provide what the hotels need. Some need bed sheets, others need painting or cleaning done. Could I, as an electrician, get away for the weekend? Yes. If a hotel needs an electrician, then in return, they will offer accommodation. The Barter Club members are from the middle and working classes, like bus driver Alejandro Torina, who, after a few months of selling herbal medicine, has gained economic success. Things were going badly, and then I was offered to join the Barter Club. I wasn't much for it. They are only pieces of paper, not real money. But I was wrong. I'm actually happy with bartering. I'm helping others and myself. I have a very large family. For now, these markets assure the survival of thousands of Argentinian families. But there is a larger vision for those behind these barter clubs. They dream of a parallel economy completely out of the politicians' hands. Barter clubs are a new phenomenon. It is a kind of reply to the social marginalization which follows globalization, which has created some improvements but creates mass unemployment in Latin America. The barter currency shows that one can create a different, humane economy. One can include all sectors. No one is kept out. This is why barter money won't die out. It gives people freedom. Cancer sufferers, AIDS sufferers, both the old and the young, are excluded by society. This was not the case before in Latin America, nor is it the case in many other countries. It is 7 years since Horacio Covas and a handful of friends started the first barter club in a garage in Buenos Aires. Today, with 2.5 million members in Argentina alone, they hope barter clubs can become an international phenomenon. We will expand internationally, because in a globalized world, development in one country has consequences for all the others. That is why it's no coincidence that Japan now has similar barter clubs. A few days later, in a humble Buenos Aires neighborhood, we visit the home of bus driver and herbal salesman Alejandro from the market. You have done a lot with the kitchen. Yes, through bartering, I've got some new furniture. I got some kitchen furniture and that little cupboard for glasses. I'm trying to repair the house. It's quite old. I get the things I need by bartering. Even labour, carpenters, plumbers. I've had new wiring. This lamp is also from the barter club. Alejandro Torina is amongst the few relatively happy Argentinians. His wages from driving a bus and from the market give his family more money than the Plough family, who live in one of the better neighbourhoods in Buenos Aires. A few months ago, Daniel Plough was forced to close his company, which distributed international newspapers and magazines. The family now survive on Alicia Plough's part-time job as a university lecturer and the money Daniel can earn from driving his own car as a taxi. This amounts to less than €400 a month. Those a little poorer were the first to be affected. One expected that it would not affect those with jobs. But after a while, everyone was affected. I know many without work, or on part-time, like me, who do not have enough to stay in their own homes. Everything is uncertain. One still cannot see where Argentina is heading. The family savings have long since been used up, so they only just pull through because the house is paid for and the rest of the family help out. But how long can this situation go on for? A few months. We can't be talking years. I don't think many families are able to survive like this for many years. More like for months. We are poor, but we live in a house for rich people. I get so depressed about this. I've got tears in my eyes. It affects me so much that I have begun thinking about leaving here. I wouldn't want to leave. But if there is no chance of a decent living here, and there are possibilities abroad, then maybe that is the right solution. The Plough family's economic crisis is not a one-off in Argentina. Over the past decades, millions of Argentinians from the country's large and powerful middle class have been pushed down into poverty. In 1975, Argentina had 1 million poor people. Today, there are 14 million, so there is a large inequality. The failure of the politicians, businessmen, unions and the church to solve this problem has brought us to the current crisis. This is Argentina's longest and most serious crisis. It has now lasted 44 months. In December and January, the fall in the economy was over 20%. It's a real problem for society. Unemployment at 23% is historic. In May, it could reach 30%. The reasons for the crisis are not new. For decades now, the country's changing governments have financed the national debt by taking out loans from abroad. It began in the years under President Menem, when a massive foreign debt was accumulated. Widespread and unchecked corruption arose, which led to this crisis, a managerial crisis. Large groups in society were thrown into poverty, and the middle class became the new poor. The middle class has lost out, but it has also affected many more. The 60% of people who are outside the banking system, casual labourers and unemployed people, are the big losers. Geographically, Argentina is a huge nation. From north to south, the country is as long as from the middle of Norway to North Africa. It is in the outlying provinces like Jujuy, more than 1,800 kilometres from Buenos Aires, that poverty is at its greatest, and uprisings started in towns like La Quiaca before they reached the larger cities. The Biathon River marks the border between Argentina and Bolivia, between South America's richest and poorest countries. But this all appears to be changing. It's very hard to see the difference between the town of Biathon in Bolivia and La Quiaca, which lies on the Argentinian side of the border. La Quiaca is so far from Buenos Aires that the town has been forgotten by the government of Argentina. The town's residents worked in silver and tin mines in the mountains, but after mass sackings, many survived only with the help from the Catholic Church. The only real meal many children and elderly people get is in the church's kitchens. Thousands of families only see money when one parent gets part-time work at an employment project. This includes Benita Copa, who is alone with her 9 children. My husband has left me. He says he is working, but he never comes here to help with the children. I can make about 120 pesos in 3 months, but then I am left unemployed. I don't know how to support my children. And the crisis also hits hard here, in the outskirts of the Punain, the plateau in the Andes Mountains. 3,500 meters up, only hardy animals such as the llama and the sheep can be herded. Peasants on the Punain are also hardy. They work their farms in a dry, cold, windy climate, and they only see money when they are fortunate enough to sell some meat or wool at the local market, but prices continue to plunge. I can't make ends meet with these low prices. We make maybe 1 peso or even 80 centavos for wool, but we can't live off that. They don't buy anything at the market. There's no demand for meat, nor anything else. It's because of the country's economic crisis. The economic crash over Christmas made the council in La Quiaca implement mass layoffs. Since then, the people have protested in the town, with a cacerolazo almost every night, and the Catholic Church is foremost in the demonstrations. The church backs the people up. We feel a duty to support the poor. Now that Argentina is in a difficult situation, the people here in La Quiaca and in the whole area are isolated. The politicians lie and the police lock people up. From La Quiaca to Buenos Aires, Argentinians demand change. But they have trouble seeing where the change should come from, because they do not trust any of the established political parties. First of all, they must all resign and give us back the money they stole. I believe in a people's parliament that is built up from the base, so the people can vote for those who will govern. I do not trust any politicians at the moment. We are a damned species. There is no way out for us. I even believe there is a danger that some of us might be killed as a result of the people's anger. There is no way out. The voter turnout was the lowest ever for the last 14th of October election. We have had obligatory voter participation since 1902, yet only 55% voted. 45% didn't vote despite the law. They voted blank or ruined their ballot sheets. The least unpopular politician in today's Argentina is the leader of the opposition party, Eliza Carrió, who could be the country's next president. She believes there is a political solution to the crisis, and the result will be a different Argentina. We need restructuring. It will be painful, but useful. I'm in no doubt that after the apparent chaotic situation, we will have a new country, maybe poorer, but definitely more dignified. It'll be a hard economic dressage for Argentina, where corruption must be wiped out and Argentinians must learn to pay tax instead of financing the state's expenses with foreign loans.
They
say the state has no funds. Then the state must get some. Taxation is the price for civilization, and tax must be paid by the rich, not the poor. It is so logical it sounds stupid, but here it will demand a minor battle. The drive of corruption is consumption. People become corrupt so that they can consume. Buy a house, a car, and get a high standard of living. This, in a large part, is the explanation. When a society such as Argentina is so violently affected by a downturn in wealth, the grounds for a Spartan society are laid. This is a very important condition for defeating corruption, and I believe it is the condition for getting rid of Argentina's corruption. The government has devalued the peso in an attempt to reinvigorate the country's industrial and agricultural exports. Agriculture once made Argentina one of the world's 10 richest countries, which could measure itself alongside the likes of Canada and Sweden. Argentina made up half of Latin America's entire economy, and many Argentines had a European standard of living. But this high living soon became reliant on corruption and debt. Now, Argentines must get back to their traditional industries, such as leather and beef. We must look at what must not happen. We must not destroy the state. If we do that, we will not be more free but more dependent on the rich. Argentina must face the fact that it is not a leading nation. Other Latin American countries are no longer behind us. We have been living beyond our means and will now have to get used to a more modest, Spartan and simple way of life. And if we do, then Argentina certainly has a future.